Hi there, this is Kristin Cooper, Certified Mortgage Planning Specialist. Just wanted to jump on here and talk about Proposition 19 and how this may be a good opportunity of a lot of people don't realize is something that may be able to help you sell and buy another home. Now, depending on the market that you're purchasing in, this could be a huge advantage either way, but especially in a market when interest rates are elevated from where they were, which is where we are today, and you're wanting to sell and buy, but when you go to get the numbers, you realize that the payment's going to be quite higher because the interest rates are higher, your property taxes are higher, and you really want to be able to move maybe closer to family, or you want to, get more property, or you just want to purchase a different home. But now you feel stuck. Well, this may be the opportunity for you if you're not aware of it. So Kristin Cooper, again, Certified Mortgage Planning Specialist, been in business almost 20 years. Give me a call. Would love to go over all the information with you, as well as any additional information that you have in regards to maybe purchasing, selling, finances, things of that nature. So what we're going to talk about specifically on this call is going to be Proposition 19. So Proposition 19, there's a couple different layers to it. Of course, make sure you reach out to the county tax assessor and get the information on this. This is just for informational purposes, and want to make sure that you find out your specific information as well, and we can talk over that. But this is just kind of an example. So if you are over the age of 55 and or you are severely disabled, permanently disabled, you would qualify for, we'll talk about step one of Proposition 19. Now, what's great about this is that with Proposition 19, it kind of took over from what was called Proposition 13, which was similar but had some differences. Now, with Proposition 19, there's no restriction to where just one time that you can use it. You can actually use it up to 3 times, which is a huge difference than what it was before. It also expanded the areas that you could purchase. So it used to be very frustrating because we'd have people that would qualify, but the county wouldn't accept it. And so what Proposition 19 is it says if you move within the same state, so within that state, you sell a home and buy a home, then you could be qualifying for this exemption. So if you're 55 or older, let's say that you're selling a property, and I just kind of put together a scenario here. We're going to talk through each section, but right now we're just on the first one, which says that if you're 55 or older or severely disabled, you may qualify for this exemption. Now, to give you an example, what that would look like is lifetime, instead of just all these different numbers and letters and stuff that you're seeing, we're going to walk through a scenario. So let's say that you have a primary residence right now, and the assessed value is currently $470,000. Now, that's not what the value of the home, not what you could sell it for, but the assessed value on your property taxes, which you can go to the county, you could look at your tax bill and it'll show you what that is. Let's assume that's $470,000, and let's say that you could sell the home today for $700,000, and you want to get a replacement property, let's say for $850,000. So what does this look like? So for property taxes, if you didn't have the Proposition 19 tax exemption, if you didn't qualify, based on a 1.2 average annual taxes, because every parcel can be different, but you would be paying an annual tax of $10,200. Now, how this Proposition 19 works is it takes whatever your the current assessed value is, or the current sales price is, and the new replacement price, it takes that difference. So in this case, it would be $850,000 minus $700,000. So it would be $150,000 of the differences between the values of the home. That's going to be added to the assessed value that you currently have. So if your current assessed value is $470,000, you get to adopt that, and then we just add only the additional $150,000 on top of that for your assessed taxes. So instead of it being the full $850,000, your new tax rate is only going to be assessed off $620,000, and your taxes are only going to be $7,440 a year versus $10,200. So that could save you several $100s a month in property taxes. And if you didn't know about this and you didn't get the exclusion, you'd be paying, the $10,200. So it's really important, A, to work with the lender that you understands all of these things and are making sure that you have all the information. As a certified mortgage planning specialist, I'm always looking at all these different avenues that impact you, not just the loan scenario, and making sure that you have all the information so that you can apply for the exclusion. It's an exclusion that you would have to apply for after, but we want to make sure that you're qualified within that. Now, a couple other things that Proposition 19 also takes into account is disaster relief tax base. So if you're in a disaster area, there's some exclusions that will allow you to transfer tax bases. And then the other one here, which is parent-child transfer and grandparent-child transfers, is really important to understand, because if you have a inheritance and there's transfers between parent and child, there's different exclusions. This is probably the negative of Proposition 19. If I were to say that you were going to take a negative from it, this would be the negative, because it used to be that you didn't have this parameter that it has to qualify for as stringent. So now, if it's a parent-child transfer, inheritance type situation, it has to be, follow the guidelines. It has to be their primary residence and things like that. So you want to make sure if you're under that you're looking under those exclusions to see if you qualify as well. I did put the web address here where you can get an info sheet that tells you more about Proposition 19. And of course, you can go to the county tax assessor's site. You can actually just type in property tax Proposition 19 calculator, and you can run through a basic scenario, what it'll tell you what your taxes would look like. But please give me a call. I want to make sure that you're setting everything up correctly. Let's run some scenarios. If you thought about selling and buying, but you're like, I just don't want to pay the property, the higher property taxes, and you're over 55, or you do have the disability that you would qualify for, let's run some scenarios and see if it's a benefit for you, especially in this market right now. When interest rates are higher and property values are lower, you have an opportunity, A, to negotiate, but B, to get a home price lower. Well, what's going to happen when rates come down is that it's going to drive more buyers, which is going to make prices go higher again. So in the future, when prices go higher and interest rates are lower, it's a great time to buy for people that haven't bought yet because the rates are lower, but now you're competing, you're paying higher for the price. Versus in this situation, if you need to sell and buy, you're better off buying when property values are lower, because like we talked about with the property tax assessment, you want that lower tax base. So buying when the values are lower, even if rates are a little bit higher, is going to be better for you, because in the future, you can refinance into a lower rate, which means that you can get the higher mortgage interest rate today, lower property tax assessments, and get a new loan when rates come down. And as a returning client of mine, you actually get a discount for that, so it doesn't cost as much to do a refinance and get the lower rate. So it's a win-win situation. So if you know anyone that's looking to buy, sell, or refinance, or need to do anything with their property in regards to financing, or have more questions about this specifically, please reach out. I'd love to be assistance of you and be that education and support that you need through this process.